horse show ever. So we're headed home from the World Equestrian Center, and Mick did third level test 3 both days. So in this video, I'm gonna do a voiceover of our first test ever together, which was recorded on Clip My Horse TV. So thanks to Clip My Horse for recording this. They're a great service. I would definitely recommend because they record like all of the big shows. First, let's talk a little bit about World Equestrian Center. So this is my husband, Herman. Say hello.
Hello.
He's driving the horse trailer. He was super groom all weekend. The World Equestrian Center is an amazing venue to show at. First and foremost, it's gigantic. So I would recommend that if you're going there, you definitely want to check out the map and have some idea of like which barn you are in. I recorded us like driving in and like weaving all around through the barns. There's like, we were in barn X, and apparently it goes like A all the way through Z. So what is that?
26.
Okay, so there's 26 barns. And then there's a bunch of different arenas. There's 2 hotels. It's like an entire town. It even has a gas station and a laundromat and a general store and a bunch of restaurants. So it's an insane venue. The stalls are also super nice. Every stall has its own fan. And are the barns air conditioned?
They
felt,
they could be.
Yeah, I think the barns are climate controlled, but they felt really cool. It was really convenient. There was like our 3 stalls, and then right next to us was a drinking fountain with like one of those water bottle fill up things, you know, like at the airport. And then the bathrooms were like right next to us, and the bathrooms were very nice. The bathrooms were, would you agree? They were like the nicest bathrooms.
Spotless and all automatic.
Yeah, super nice bathrooms. And then Mick was in the indoor arena, which was super cool. I've never ridden in air conditioning before, and I will say that that was very nice. So I'm going to talk you through our third level test 3. Of course, there's always things to improve. You'll see we had a few little bobbles, but overall I was really happy with Mick. And he just needs to get out a little bit more. He was a little bit nervous in his stall when the other horses would leave. He was a little bit not eating all his food, but I was really proud of when I was riding him that he was with me. So I hope that you enjoy the test, and I'm going to walk you through it.
From Camarillo, California, riding her Belgian warm blood, gelding Miklos EDI.
Here, I'm just going outside the arena with Mick and just kind of making sure that he sees everything. I always like to make sure that I can get my horses by and in front of the judge. I can't remember why I was looking back at the judge there. I'm doing a little bit of a baby leg yield in and out just to make sure that he's listening and paying attention to my leg. Then I go ahead and pick up the trot. And again, this is our first show. So I think once you know your horse a little better, then you kind of can have a better plan. But I'm just feeling out, you know, what he needs in the moment, how to get him set up. And then the judge, I think, rings the bell here. Let's see if I enter. Yep, there we go. Okay, so A down center line. I definitely need to work a bit more on the center lines, but I'm really just focusing on looking up, looking at the judge, riding him forward. You can see he's like a tiny bit wiggly on the center line. That was a pretty good square halt. And then back up to the trot. It's been a process with Mick. He's always been a little bit like defensive at the halts, not always wanting to stand still or accept the contact. And so as you know, that's one of those things that you work on carefully. So then we have track left, and then we have our medium trot, which I'm pretty happy with. Very nice rhythm, nice reach, nice balance. I'm always working with Mick on being able to ride him bigger, of course, but also focusing on the balance. And then across the short side, showing off his nice silhouette, which I thought was really nice there. One thing that I love about Mick is how much activity he has. Now we're doing our shoulder in to the right, and I'm just really focusing on keeping that steady positioning and the steady rhythm. And then we have our 2 half 10-meter circles into the left half pass. I really like this trot work, how it flows in third level test 3. I think it's just really nice to ride. And then at the end here, we track to the right. So you got to change the bend, go into the corner, and then half halt and set up for your extended trot across the diagonal, which I thought that came off well. You could see me kind of sit him down in the corner, and then he pushed off nicely. Overall, I was super happy with how he felt in this test. He was really with me. He was really listening. Oh, and this, okay, the halt rein back. This has been something that's been really tricky with Mick because when I first got him, he would like run backwards and then you couldn't get him going forward again. And so I was super happy with the obedience there in that halt rein back. Now we have our shoulder into the left. I always focus on for the shoulder and having enough angle that I feel like I could fit a human between my outside shoulder and the rail. That's just kind of a good way to measure if you have enough angle. And those 2 10-meter half circles were not as accurate as they should be. I got some comments in this test about accuracy. So that's one thing that I need to work on for my homework. So here we have our transition to the collected walk. And then we have our walk pirouette. So H turn left and then a half turn to the left. Mick has a really good walk. You can see how he has really nice rhythm and overtrack. Some of the biggest comments that I got in this test are working still on improving his self-carriage, which I agree with. Sometimes because he has such a big, powerful hind leg and he's not always supple enough, sometimes he gets a little bit on the forehand or out of balance. So that's something that I'm going to work on improving. Those 2 walk pirouettes were quite good. I was really proud of him. He maintained the rhythm and the activity, and I was able to make them quite small. So I was pretty pleased with those. And then we have our extended walk across the half diagonal. So I'm trying, in the extended walk, you don't let the neck go quite as low as the free walk. You want to think of more of like a horizontal balance and then getting his nose more out. So I definitely could have developed that sooner. And I think he could have reached a little bit more out to the contact. And then K, we have our transition to collected canter right into the half pass. You can see there, I should have had him a little bit more in shoulder in. You could see his haunches were a little bit in. And then I have my half pass left from F to X. So I'm really trying to ride the corners and set him up for a nice half pass. And then straight on the center line, shoulder 4. So I'm thinking left leg to right rein connection. And then a half 10-meter circle. And then on the diagonal to a flying change. This flying change was definitely not our best. He didn't really, you'll see me ask for it, and then he kind of kicks up and then he does it one stride after I asked for it. But, again, this is our first time doing a test and his first time having to do a flying change in a test. So that's a little bit expected, and you just go on and keep riding and do the best you can and try to learn from it. So now I have my half pass to the right from the corner to the center line and then shoulder 4. Oh yeah. And you could see he got a little wild there. Could you see him fall through that left shoulder? And I was trying to really straighten him up to get him ready for the flying change here to the left. Good boy. That was a nice change. It's interesting with Mick because at first the flying change from left to right was easiest. And now it's the flying change from right to left. But that's kind of typical. And then we have our extended canter, which is so much fun on Mick. So I kind of went for this and let him fly. And I really thought that came off nicely, how much he lifted and started to reach, and his frame came a little bit more up. And then I have my trot transition at the corner at H and then A down center line. Good boy. That could have had a little more activity in that canter trot. You saw you got just maybe a hair slow and behind me. But overall, I'm super proud of him. And that was a little wiggly there. So overall for his first test, I'm really proud of him. I certainly have some wiggles and things I need to work out. But good boy, Mick.
And in ring 2, that was Amelia Newcomb riding Miklos EDI today in third level test 3.
Good boy. And big thank you to Clip My Horse for recording this video. They're a great service, and it's so nice that they had a videographer there, so I was able to get nice footage. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough of Mick's third level test 3. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep you updated on, let's see, what's next for Mick. I think we're going to be doing some clinics and then practicing. I feel like every time after a horse show, you have a lot of homework to do, which is great. A lot of things to practice and improve on. I think the biggest comments are just getting everything a little more consistent, and for me, working on my accuracy, getting him a little better in self-carriage, and continuing to improve the flying changes. But I'm really proud of Mick for his first show, and he's come so far, and I'm excited about him for the future. He has really good half steps, 3 good gaits, an amazing mind, and I really love getting the young horses and bringing them up the levels. So stay tuned, and I think the next Mick episode will either be, we have a few clinics coming up, so let me know in the comments if you want me to share some footage from our clinic, and I hope that you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.